Okay, so today I want to talk about how can we create a simple get endpoint using Spring Boot. The endpoint is very simple, in which we want user to send a request to us at a given endpoint, and we want to return back with a string. Let's head to start.spring.io, which is a Spring Boot initializer website. This website is going to bootstrap a lot of stuff for us. So um, I'm not going to change much of the stuff from here, just to keep things simple. But on the right hand side, I need a dependency, which is a Spring Web Dependency, because this dependency is actually going to deploy our service in locally running Apache Tomcat. So let me add that, and let's click on generate at the bottom. It's going to install the zip file in default location, which is the download folder for me. So let's open the default location and downloads. So let's extract this file, and we can see the file has been extracted. I'm using IntelliJ, so I'm going to open this extracted folder in IntelliJ. So downloads, demo, let's open that. And now IntelliJ is going to scan a POM file and going to add all the dependencies, um, going to resolve all the Maven dependency, as you can see at the bottom. And shortly we'll see our project on the left pane, and came up. You can see we have a markdown file, couple of Maven files, a POM file. So, let's look at the POM file. We didn't change any of this stuff from the website, so this is as it is, that was mentioned on the website. This web dependency is what we added from the Spring Initializer website, and we're going to need that when we're going to add controllers and the get mapping and annotation, stuff like that. So now let's look what we have inside the source. So we have a main and a test folder. Main is where we're going to write all our Java classes, and test is obviously to test all those Java classes. Let's click on main. We have a Java and resources. Let's click on Java and let's see what we have in demo application. Pretty basic stuff. We have a main class, and this is the starter of this application, right? The entire application is going to start from this line of code, right? So this is very, although it is very simple, it was just one line, but it's going to start your entire application, right? So I can start my application by clicking on this play button in IntelliJ, and I can do run demo application dot main method, or I can click on the file and from the file explorer here and do right click and then do run, right? Let's run it and see what happens, right? We didn't write any single line of code yet, but we are just curious what happens, what we have been given out of the box by Spring Initializer website. All right, so if you can see, a terminal popped up from the bottom, a Spring banner came up. It's very default, no profile set. It's trying to initialize Tomcat at 8080, and it started Tomcat at 8080. So it looks like our application has been started at 8080, and it's ready to serve different endpoints, but we don't have endpoints yet, right? So let's quickly create a class, and I'm going to name this class as a greet controller, because we want to have a controller that can return hello world, right? So let's create a very simple method, name greet. Okay, and this method is going to return hello world, right? So that's all well and good, but how do I make it a get mapping, right? So there is an annotation that comes out of the box from Spring Framework.web package, which we have already added inside our POM while we were generating the zip file. So let me add that. You can see the package has been imported at the top, and the get mapping annotation has already been resolved, right? And now similarly we need to make this controller as a REST controller, which again come from Spring Web package. So let me add that. All right, this dependency has been resolved too. Well and good. And inside get mapping, what do we want our resource to look like? So I want it to look like greet. So basically I'm telling that whenever someone comes to my server and says, localhost 8080 / greet, I want to return a hello world to them, right? So let's save that, and then let's rerun the application, stop and rerun. And again IntelliJ is going to build this code change and create updated jar for us, and going to run that jar. Again we can see terminal popped up and same thing happening again. Tomcat is trying initializing at port 8080, and then Tomcat started at 8080 and says Tomcat started, right? So let's test this endpoint. So if everything went fine, we should see hello world for the endpoint greet, right? Localhost 8080. So that's where our service is running, and our endpoint is called / greet. Enter, and we can see a hello world coming back in. Right, so very basic. What we did, we just created an endpoint that returns a string, right? And obviously this is not when we are writing a bigger project, this is not how we're going to do. This is a very simple example just for the a starter uh, video, but eventually this is going to get bigger, and where we going to use different type of responses. How do we return HTTP status code if request succeeds or request fails and stuff like that. So stay tuned for all that sort of stuff. Thanks a lot.